Hey there, folks. Welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture, and it's Billboard Breakdown. So this is one of those weeks where I'm increasingly unsure where the hell the Billboard Hot 100 is going. And not just because we've got a few album bombs in the making that are going to be dropping over the next couple of weeks to further destabilize things. And while part of it is also linked to the headlong race for what will make the year-end list right now, the larger point is that as a whole, songs that you might expect to not seem fragile feel increasingly perilous, especially when you take a look at our top 10 right now. So let's consider that group, shall we? Yes, Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift held on to the number one, but it did so despite losing the top spot in streaming, YouTube, and sales, and her radio traction seemed to sputter out a little bit. Make no mistake, this track could be unseated very quickly and without warning, and for the most likely culprit for that, as I predicted last week, Bodak Yellow by Cardi B at number 2, regaining the top spot in streaming in aggregate, and with a bit of radio traction and some pretty decent YouTube, it managed to compensate for more weak sales at number 2, but at this point, it's a margins game whether or not it can make up the ground. But then you have 1-800-273-8255 by Logic featuring Alessia Cara and Khalid up to number 3, picking up gains across the board with real momentum on the radio. If Cardi B does not pick up her sales, Logic could easily make a charge for number 1. Now this leaves Despacito by Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and the remix with Bieber in an awkward place at number 4. Because despite a lingering sense of inertia that keeps it alive on YouTube, every other channel is pushing this down pretty fast. The larger story is the comeback that caught me a little bit off guard, Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith debuting at number 5. Yes, our overly stiff white bread R&B balladeer broke through at number 5 this week, and with big sales and on-demand streaming, plus some steady radio gains, he does well on the radio, it looks to have a decent slot at holding at least in the top 20 after the expected debut drop off. Now I'll talk about more of the quality of the song a little bit later, but I will say I'm a little bit stunned that it got this much traction to break the top 5 with its return. I mean, it held up above Wild Thoughts by DJ Khaled featuring Rihanna and Bryson Tiller, but considering how atrocious its numbers were across the board, I'm surprised it held in the top 10 at all, managing to hold on to number 6. Now granted, our last few songs don't exactly inspire a lot of confidence. Unforgettable by French Montana featuring Sway Lee actually recovered up to number 7 thanks to a decent streaming week and radio that wavered but didn't quite dip, which put it above expected behavior for the next 3 songs. First we got Believer by Imagine Dragons, down to number 8 on airplay weaknesses, backed up by decent enough YouTube. Then Attention by Charlie Puth down to number 9, relying on pretty much just airplay at this point, even as that's fading fast. And then there's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes at number 10 with all of Charlie Puth's weaknesses, but somehow worse. Of course, that instability only becomes more pronounced as we look down the charts. So let's take a look at our losers and dropouts. Now in the latter category, nothing was incredibly impressive, but we did lose My Girl by Dylan Scott, Most Girls by Haley Steinfeld, and Reminder by The Weeknd. Overall, none of it looks to have a shot at the year-end list, and I'm not all that interested in these songs regardless. Now, where things get more interesting come in a lot of our losers, and let's start off with the most pronounced loss, namely Ready For It by Taylor Swift falling out of the top 20 down to 21. Sure, this song is just for promotion, but I can predict this falling a lot harder if the YouTube video or streaming doesn't pick up. Then you got the expected losses. 2 continued from last week from Lil Uzi Vert with Sauce It Up down to 67, and 444 plus 222 down to 100. Then you have Billy Currington's Do I Make You Wanna continuing to sputter out at 90. Then Versace on the Floor by Bruno Mars not turning out the follow-up single that it really deserved to be to 83. And Transportin' by Kodak Black to 58 because, well, the song is garbage. On a different note, it was also a particularly bad week for Katy Perry, as her collaboration with Calvin Harris, Pharrell, and Big Sean Feels took a sudden hit to 37, and her work with Nicki Minaj, Swish Swish, fell fast to 92. Now personally, I'm more inclined to complain that It Ain't My Fault by Brothers Osborne lost all its momentum again down to 94. But the truly ominous story here comes with These Ho by Bad Baby falling to 87. And yeah, it dropped, but when it comes to acts making a play off of YouTube memes and reinforcement from terrible vloggers, you would normally expect the song to last only 1 week, and this had a second week. Coupled with the news that she signed a deal with Atlantic and the disconcerting buzz that Gucci Mane is collaborating with Jake Paul, yeah, okay, none of this is good going forward. And what's alarming is that I don't see what's stopping it in our gains and returning entries right now. For some ungodly reason, 2 months after it fell out, No Complaints by Metro Boomin featuring Offset and Drake returned to the charts at 97, but it's not like this will really stick around in my books. What it's got a better shot are the 2 gains that we had this week, both pretty easily explained. Bad at Love by Halsey off the debut last week up to 71, it's got some radio now, joy. And Unforgettable by Thomas Rhett getting a boost off the album, dropping up to 47. Now, I don't really expect this to stick around as high as it is, but the song is inoffensive enough, even if again, it does not belong on country radio. So okay, fine. We can't expect the gains to stop some of the rising tide of bullshit, so what about our new arrivals? Starting off with number 99, Let Me Go by Hailee Steinfeld and Alesso featuring Florida Georgia Line and Watt.
Somebody's taking care of all of the mess I made. Someone you don't have to change. I've been hoping someone will love you. Let me go.
This is one of those collaborations that just by looking at the list of people attached to it, you're kind of bewildered. I mean, you got an actress slash pop singer, a Swedish DJ who last crossed over with Tove Lo 3 years ago, the bro country duo, and a blues rock songwriter producer who's been racking up credits behind the scenes for a couple years now. So I kind of expected this to be a bit of a mess, and yet to my amazement, this actually holds together pretty well. The muted guitar and bass, they've got plenty of room to swell and breathe and back up against the gentle snapping bounce that complements Hailee Steinfeld's voice remarkably well. And with Florida Georgia Line toning back on some of their twang, they've got enough personality to play off each other surprisingly well. Hell, I even like the lyrics to the song. Painted from both sides, see the relationship that's kind of sputtering out without any animosity, just hoping that their future partner will treat the other person better. I will say that I'm not exactly fond of the breakdown tone. It's this blocky, oddly lo-fi bit of whirring synth, and you gotta wonder if Watt might have done better to contribute a guitar solo to fill in for it, or if that's his melody from the guitar, maybe just contorted the way it is. But beyond that, this is a pretty likable song. Wouldn't mind it sticking around. I take it. Number 98, Pills and Automobiles by Chris Brown featuring Yo Gotti, A Boogie with the Hoodie, and Kodak Black.
Oh, baby. Just tryna change your life. I'm just tryna change your life. Just tryna change your life. Oh, baby.
You know, at some point people are gonna get burned out on your promotion, Chris, considering that your lead-off single was Party and that was released almost a year ago. Anyway, this is just a promotional single with a bunch of acts who have had mainstream success in 2017. It doesn't even look like it's gonna be on the album track list at this moment, so what does this have going for it? Well, I sure as hell hope this doesn't stick around because for some ungodly reason, somebody decided to pile on so many layers of auto-tune onto Chris Brown's voice that nearly sounds like Travis Scott, especially when he's pitched down like that. And none of it is remotely flattering. It's this faded flutter of a melody, a by-the-numbers trap beat, and a chorus that consists of one word. And how Chris Brown thinks this will come across as getting this girl wet, I have no clue. With his verse starting off with lines how this bitch is just wasting his time and playing both sides, Yo Gotti talking about a relationship sputtering out where they both cheated, so I've got no sympathy here, and Kodak Black actually kind of holding his own in his flow together as he raps about the girl somehow becoming more glamorous than him and pushing him out of her league. Okay. The only one who seems remotely sincere or somewhat likable is A Boogie with the Hoodie, which is only really focused on buying her love, but at least he seems to care about not breaking her heart or hurting her, and that's a baseline for a love and sex song. And even then it feels kind of out of place against a lot of this production, which is more melancholy. As a whole, yeah, good thing this is not on the album. It's mediocre at best. Pass. Number 85, No Limit by G-Eazy featuring A$AP Rocky and Cardi B.
3 times I'm a wife, it ain't safe for the black or the white, it ain't safe, it ain't safe, it ain't safe, it ain't safe. Tell your man pipe up, nigga pipe up. And advance from the safe in your face for your sake. Money dance, turn the shit into a nightclub.
Okay, polling here. Who said that G-Eazy was allowed to have any more hits? He had Me, Myself, and I in 2016. I thought we all moved on. We had an agreement. We voted. But this time he brought A$AP Rocky and Cardi B up for relevance. I'm sorry, I mean support. And yet, for some bizarre reason, A$AP Rocky only handles the hook. Why, G-Eazy? Were you concerned that you get overshadowed by a considerably more interesting and colorful MC? Because you would have? Because here's the funny thing. G-Eazy is easily the least interesting or charismatic presence on the song, as A$AP Rocky rides provides the stormy backdrop and faster trap beat better than G-Eazy dropping into a very staccato flow for his verse. And then Cardi B just shows up and runs away with the whole song. Yeah, I'm kind of stunned too. But in terms of ignorant brag rap, she's got more flair and groove than anybody else here. And considering this is her first real guest appearance to chart, her first real guest verse, she set a pretty decent bar for herself and all her rhymes were on point. So yeah, I like the production. A$AP Rocky and Cardi B, they kind of clean up. I kind of like this. Yeah, definitely. Cool track. Number 81, Gucci Gang by Lil Pump.
Rather go and buy ball mains. Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang. Spent 3 racks on new chain. My bitch love do cocaine. Ooh, I fuck a bitch, I forgot name. Yeah, I can't buy no bitch no wetter rain. Ooh, rather go and buy ball mains. Hey, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Look, at some point when the first things I find out about an unknown rapper on the Hot 100 is that he doesn't have a Wikipedia page and he's primarily based off of SoundCloud, I feel I know exactly what I'm getting here. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what I expected. One highly repetitive hook, your standard cracking trap beat and muted melody, and a general attitude of carefree obnoxiousness. Seriously, the most interesting thing about this song is him taking pot shots at WestJet for being an asshole on their flights and then getting kicked off. You want me to feel any sort of solidarity with that? Because I don't. I like WestJet. I mean, this is a guy who brags about selling meth and screwing his teacher, would rather indulge in brand name porn than any sort of real connection or punchlines. He takes medication with his grandmother and otherwise comes across like a total dick piston who's just coasting off his hook. Again, the song is only just over 2 minutes. We only got one verse. And while this guy is competent as a rapper, certainly isn't likable, and this song isn't good. Next, number 80, Found You by Kane Brown.
House party that I didn't even want to go to. The way you move had me first time feeling in a while. I should make one too. Sometimes the finish line is just the start of something new. I'd have never lost her, and I'd have never found you. No, I'd have never found you.
So okay, in terms of pop country, What Ifs by Kane Brown and Lauren Elena held up far better than I think anybody could have predicted. Seriously, it's got a serious shot at hitting a year-end list if it holds up momentum for another month or so, and I wouldn't really mind that. So clearly somebody has labeled decided to reissue his self-titled record in October of this year with a deluxe edition in order to capitalize on the success with a new single to boot. And look, I like some of the ghostly electric guitar tones, but that's about the best thing I can say about this really dreary song, which again is trying to force trap hi-hats opposite guitars with too much compression and a hook that sticks mostly in minor keys. And frankly, that strikes me as a baffling choice. This is a song where he's grateful an old relationship ended and his friends then dragged him out to that house party where he met the new girl. So isn't this supposed to sound kind of exultant or relieved or fun? Like Billy Currington when he did It Don't Hurt Like It Used To? And not just like the percussion is a half step away from Sam Hunt? Look, okay, I'm no Kane Brown fan, and you know, this sort of song, it's the reason why. It's not very good. Number 73, I'll Name the Dogs by Blake Shelton.
Be the pretty and I'll be the funny. You plant the flowers, I'll plant the kisses. Baby, let's get right down to business. I'll hang the pictures, you hang the stars. You pick the paint, I'll pick a guitar. Sang you a song out there with the crickets and the frogs. You name the babies and I'll name the dogs.
So we're getting yet another Blake Shelton record, and I can't be the only one who feels like we aren't far removed from the cycle from the last one. But then again, it's not like he's writing the song, so okay, what are we getting this time? Well, it seems like he went back into a very comfortable territory. Middle-brow, mid-tempo, adult contemporary leaning song about getting married where she'll name the kids and he'll name the dogs. And here's the thing, this is actually otherwise pretty tolerable. The guitar work's got a bit of bounce, I like the fiddle and pedal steel accents, and with the exception of the filtered backing vocals and a deeper beat that punches through the bottom of the mix a little bit louder than it probably should, the production is the most country that Blake Shelton has been on in years. And yeah, the guy does have some natural charisma, so even if the lyrics can feel a tad goofy, honestly a little bit corny, he can deliver them mostly effectively, and that kind of works in country music. Now this will never fit among his best songs, but it's workable, it's passable. I'll take it. Number 62, Love So Soft by Kelly Clarkson.
Break it, then you buy it, and it's sure gonna cost you. Love so soft that you can't rub off. You gon' love it if you try it. Got your hook, now you're caught up. Love so soft, so soft. Love so soft, so soft.
You know, I think there's a mistaken impression out there that I don't like Kelly Clarkson, and that's not really true. My larger issue is that I've been disappointed with her output for nearly a decade when she left pop rock for something a lot flimsier and a lot less interesting or relevant. But fans of me will know that I thought her cover of It's Quiet Uptown from Hamilton actually made my year-end list of the best songs last year, and thus I had the hopes that if she had good material, this could turn out pretty well, and I'm not sure this is the best possible pivot for her. Following in Demi Lovato's wake, she seems to have made more of a pivot towards horns, inflected soul, and gospel vibe, which, yeah, Kelly Clarkson seems to have a better grasp on in terms of delivery and production, courtesy of a thicker bass groove, the organ, and a better horn pickup than, well, I don't know, Demi Lovato does. But still, her delivery on that bass swamped out hook is more Meghan Trainor than classic R&B or soul, and the pretty underwritten and kind of generic lyrics don't really help this stand out for me. So I'll say something similar to what I said about Demi Lovato's recent singles. Pop rock was a much better fit for your voice, and while you do have the range for soul, your voice doesn't really have the right texture or subtlety to pull it off well. I mean, I might like this more than Sorry Not Sorry, but not by much. Number 44, Dusk Till Dawn by Zayn featuring Sia. So one of the more fascinating phenomena of 2017 is how well seemingly all the One Direction members have been charting hits on the Hot 100, and yet beyond I Don't Want to Live Forever with Taylor Swift, a song that nearly all you forgot existed until I just mentioned it right there, I knew it was only going to be a matter of time before Zayn made his big reappearance, this time picking up Sia for backup along the way. And on some level, it kind of makes sense that he's working with Sia. This track shows that with the deep, smoky, reverb-saturated melodies courtesy of Greg Kurstin, the reliance on heavier percussion, and songs that are on average kind of underwritten and a little bit mediocre, they've got pretty vocal chemistry at least, even if I wasn't exactly calling it interesting or sexy. I think my big problem here comes with the hook. Zayn's upper register is so compressed in the vocal production that it just doesn't have the firepower it needs to match Sia, especially against her drums and that throatier tone. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad song, but just like I Don't Want to Live Forever, I can see myself forgetting it pretty damn fast. And finally, number 5, Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith.
Baby, we don't stand a chance. It's sad, but it's true. I'm way too good at goodbye. I'm way too good at goodbye. I'm way too good at goodbye.
You know, it occurs to me that I never actually reviewed debut album in full, or have had much of a chance to give a real opinion on him beyond singles that you guys might have seen, but the truth is that he doesn't really inspire much of a reaction from me. Apparently he's phenomenal live from friends I know who've seen him, but unless he's got production that gives him any sort of real groove, his delivery and writing can feel overly stately and stiff, not helped by his tendency to drop into a falsetto that just doesn't really work for me. So okay, what about this? His lead-off single from a sophomore record that's about 3 years in the making. Honestly, I can't really say that I'm a fan, and you know what, to Sam Smith's credit, it doesn't have to do with his delivery, which just picked up more expressive flow. It sounds pretty damn good. Or the production that balances out the strings and the choir backing vocals for a pretty decent melody against that thicker beat. What I don't like here is the content. Yes, I get being guarded in a modern relationship, especially if you think that things are gonna fall apart down the line. But pushing this into the brand of melodramatic cynicism just doesn't really resonate with me at all, especially as lines on the second verse imply that he's protecting his innocence. So if that was true, why are you so damn convinced that this isn't gonna work? You wouldn't otherwise know if you were so innocent, because that implies experience, which on the first verse he says he has. It's almost that he's so prepared for things to go wrong that he's not even considering the possibility it can work. It feels kind of emotionally distant, which sucks any of the air out of any possible conflict to boot, be it dramatic or melodramatic. So yeah, it's a good tune, it's a decent groove, I like the delivery, but I really can't get behind this as much as I want to. Sorry. So yeah, that was our week. Overall, bit of a mixed bag again, but not bad per se. I think on average it's positive. The worst, Gucci Gang by Lil Pump easily. But just honorable mention, I'm giving it to Kane Brown for some truly awful production and a completely mishandled mood on Found You. That song should be better. But I think the surprise here is with the best of the week, because honorable mention is going to Let Me Go by Haley Steinfeld, Alesso, Flora Georgia Line, and Watt, with best of the week going to G-Eazy, Cardi B, and A$AP Rocky for No Limit. Yeah, I'm as shocked as anybody here, even though I'm inclined to credit Cardi B and A$AP Rocky a lot more than anything that G-Eazy has ever done. So yeah, okay, a bit of a different week from that perspective, but we'll see where things go from here. It's going to be eventful next couple of weeks. I'd put money on it. But until then, I'm Mark. You're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.